So Meta, also formerly known as Facebook, just dropped Llama 3.2. The really cool thing about this Llama 3.2 drop is they introduced a couple new models, and I'm going to show you how to run those locally on your own computer. Big difference between, locally, privately, and, using ChatGPT. This is locally, meaning you can run it on your own hardware. I can run Llama 3.2 3 billion parameter model on this very laptop that I'm using to record this, but this laptop has a 1050 Ti with, I think, 6 GB of VRAM, maybe even less. I've never really checked, but I am able to run models that are usually in the 3.5 billion parameter mode. So the easiest way to run something like this is to have Ollama downloaded to your system and to run Ollama. What Ollama does is it's a service that allows you to use LLMs more efficiently or more effectively. It's just easier. They kind of work out all the settings and they use their application to hide some of the stuff that you'd have to do if you were doing a straight like binary download of one of these things from like Hugging Face. So I use Ollama. It makes it easy to get what you want. Cool thing is Llama, 3 and then the 1.5 billion parameter models just dropped. So now we can look at those right now. So we don't have to wait. We don't have to troubleshoot. You get Ollama installed once, and then you can just run from there. It's like, a service basically at that point, but it's free too. So that's the cool thing. Ollama is completely open source. Originally, it was made to work with the Llama models, and it just took off from there. And now you can pretty much get anything. So we're going to, like I said, we have a 1 billion parameter model and a 3 billion parameter model. I'm going to download the 1 billion parameter model just so I can show you guys how to download it. But I've already downloaded the 3 billion parameter model, and I don't want to remove it and download it again. It takes a long time to download. It wouldn't take a long time to download. It takes like 3 minutes, but in the internet speeds, that's a long time. So, as a millennial, let's not wait. I already got it downloaded. It's going to stay there. So we'll download the 1 billion. That way you guys will see that it's downloading. So if you ever, once you get Ollama installed, if you guys need a video on how to install Ollama, just shoot me a message, put it in the chat. I'll do that too. I'll show you how to do it on Windows. I'll show you how to do it on Ubuntu. I'll show you how to do it on Windows and then run everything on your local laptop. I'll show you how to do it in Ubuntu, which is more of a server client relationship. I'll show you how to do that. And neither one are that complex. That it can get, the more things you stack on top of it, the more complex it gets. But we'll run back to that. So anyway, here we are. Let's so I use Ollama, which is a service. I want to show you a little bit. Like I said, I run this thing like a server, right? So I go here. This is basically my Ollama box. I call it black box, but whatever. It's a virtual machine that I'm running on a DL380 with a NVIDIA P40 that I'm using GPU pass through so that I can get my 24 gigabytes of VRAM to the system. So first things first, let's just do Ollama PS. That shows us that Ollama is running, the service is active. Then we can do Ollama list. That shows us all the models I have downloaded. If you look at that list right now, it's pretty much the best models. This is what everyone's going to have right now. My favorite right now is probably, it used to be Mistral Nemo 12 billion parameter, but I recently have been into the Quinn 14 billion parameter. Now, effective wise, I think Llama 3.1 8 billion parameters is the most effective. So we'll see. Anyway, back to it. Like you can see here, I already downloaded Llama 3.2 with the 3 billion parameter and the quantizations Q8. We can talk about that in another video. If you want to know about quantizations, just let me know. I'm going to put all this stuff together for you guys so that you can have this information. And really, my goal here is just let everyone know that none of this stuff's that hard. And if it does get hard, you just ask the AI and it literally tells you what you're doing. So you don't have to be worried about it because it's going to tell you how to do it. So anyway, let's move on from that back to our screen. So this is where I was showing you I have an Ollama server. My computer actually connects to the Ollama server via the browser. So, and what do I use to interface there? So like this, you don't have to sign in. You don't have to do anything. Like this is just where I go get model names. I use OpenwebUI. I'm running OpenwebUI in a Docker-based scenario. Whereas I said my server had a VM of Ubuntu running. Now it also has a Docker container that I run on that Ubuntu server that allows me to do kind of like a web hosting thing with OpenwebUI. And OpenwebUI just gives you a really cool interface to interact with Ollama. And see how we pulled list earlier? If you look here, same exact list. So I think there's some things you can do here so that you can stay out of the Ollama CLI, which honestly isn't that bad, but it is somewhat limited, right? And this kind of gets you over that hump. And you could set this up and you could share it with your family. You can have people log in remotely. We can get to all that later, but just kind of give you tell. So if you guys want that video installing Ollama, the software that we use to download the LLMs, let me know. If you want a video on installing OpenwebUI, let me know. If you need a video, I don't know, building VMs and all that stuff, I can do all that stuff too. It's all fun and pretty much none of it's as complicated as all these IT professionals are telling you it is. I happen to be one and I get paid money to do it, and it's still not that hard. So don't worry. So the question is, can you do it on time? You know, can you do it timely? But if you got time, you can do this. So this might take you a weekend, might take you 2 weekends, but you'll figure it out, and then the next time it'll be quicker. So let's go through. So we go back to our little admin panel here. So this thing is really cool. I'm the guy who created this, basically, right? Like it's like this is my website. But I just run it locally, and I actually have to do some cheating here because I'm not running a domain server. That kind of causes some of the things to kind of act weird, but don't worry about that. So we go to our settings and say I wanted to use this to download Ollama, I would right here, right? It even gives you an example. Enter the model tag, e.g. Mistral : 7 billion parameter. So you can't just hit, you can't just type in Mistral, right? It's gonna it doesn't know what that is. You got to type in Mistral : 7 billion parameter, and this can get even more detailed. I'll go into all that, and then you just hit download. This probably works just fine with smaller models like the Llama 3b, things that are downloaded in like 3 minutes. But I find when I try to download something larger, like I don't know, like Llama 22 or something, whatever, I have to look at my list again. One of the larger models, the 20 billion and up parameter models, this thing always times out. So I really just prefer to go ahead and run this through CLI. I feel like CLI is more interactive, and so. But again, my situation is different than yours. If you're running if you're running this locally, and by locally I mean all on one computer, it might work just fine. But something about the way I got this separated between these two, it doesn't really like it. So, but what I'll do is to figure out, hey, I want to download a model. I don't know the exact title of it. You go to ollama.com and you just go to models. Here, let's start from the beginning. So if we're at ollama.com, like we are here we are, ollama.com, you just click on models. Nothing too complicated. What's up with this? Oh, it's zoomed in. Sorry, it was zoomed in. You go to Llama 3.2. What do you want to download? Really, what model do you want? I think today we want Llama 3.2, right? So click on Llama 3.2, and as you can see, there's also a 13 billion parameter model coming out. I'm very excited for. That's a sweet spot for those of us with 24 gigabytes of VRAM that are, I guess it's not the haves and the have-nots. We're just like lower middle class because you can get to 48, 90, you run these large models. These are just the small models that could run on your machine. So anyway, you go to Llama 3.2, you click on it. It tells you the name right here. So you just copy that if that's all you want to do. You copy that, you go over here to your admin panel, you pop this in, and you would just download it. I don't like to do it that way, and like I said, because of the reason I explained earlier. So what I would do is I come down here and I click copies. Like I said, we're not going to do 3 billion, so I already have it. We're going to do the 1 billion because it's fast, and it'll be interesting too. Maybe we'll check that out because I haven't even looked at it. But so anyway, go from there back here. We're here. Hit that and Llama run Llama 3.2. So if I do it this way, it's going to automatically launch the LLM. So what I like to do is just say pull, right? So if you pull something from the website, you're downloading it from the website. Why they can't say download, I don't know. I guess it became too many letters. I don't know. They just all of a sudden changed download to pull. This probably happened over the past 4 or 5 years. So it's just another way for, to keep up the gate. So anyway, the gatekeepers got you. Pulling, or you got them now. Pulling, you download. Pushing, you upload. You send it back to them, right? So if you're going to download this model and you're going to adjust it and train it, which we can get to that later, and you can push that back up to Ollama, and your trained model will be up on Ollama that somebody can download. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But as you can see, downloading quite fast. Give it 13 more seconds, and we'll be there. So I like this too because you can actually see with the OpenwebUI, you can't actually see what you're downloading. So I'm not just trying to crap on OpenwebUI. It's my favorite. I love it. I use that pretty much extensively when I'm chatting with the model. There's so many other features like RAG and stuff like that that you can do in the model that it's great. But for now, I rather just show you guys this because we're not there yet. So anyway, we got Llama 3.2 downloading. We go to, well, let's run it here. So let's do a Llama run, and we can choose which one of these models we want to run. So if we want to run Llama 3 billion, that's the one I was really here for, because I think pretty much everyone's going to run Llama 3.2 Llama 3.2 3 billion parameter model. If you want to know if you can run one of these models, there's a math formula and stuff like that you can do, or you could just think about it the way I do. And the way I think, I just messed that up. The way I think about it is that if you look at the file size of one of these, you need to imagine that when you're a GPU is a parallel processing unit, at least for the purposes of this conversation. It's a parallel processing unit, whereas your normal hard drive is probably more of a serial processing unit, right? So that means you got 1 0 in, 1 0 out. There's different ways, data streaming and stuff like that, to get around that. But let's call it serial, which is single file line going this way, parallel, which is everything. So what a GPU has to do is has to take all of this information and have it out and displayed at once. So basically, how much do you need to run Llama 3.2 3 billion parameter model? 3.4 gigabytes. So there you go. There's your answer. That's how much VRAM you need. You could probably reduce that by to 80% of this or something. There's math. You get on Reddit, they'll tell you how to do it. I just say the easy way. I can run 27B, but it's 22 gigabytes. Run it just fine. So that's something you want to think about, right? Is what size models can you actually run and what can you do? Anyway, running this Llama 3.2 3 billion via command line, I'm just going to show you how it works. I can send it a message saying, hey, how are you doing? And it'll say something. I'm just a language model. I love to ask these models to say something. Oh, yeah, I didn't have any emotions or feelings like humans do, but thanks for that's what they want you to think. So just so you guys know, this thing could be, these models, I don't trust any of them. They're telling you they don't have any emotions or feelings or whatever. They might, do insects have emotions and feelings? We're just conscious to start. I can't tell anybody. I'm just saying, I don't know if this is what it says. All right, anyway, move it on. So we can ask a question. So I say something like, do something to impress, right? Just show me how cool are you? What can you do? It says I'll generate a short story on the spot, improvise a musical composition to accompany it. It's not quite a musical composition, but it's interesting that it thought it could do that. I'm gonna tell it no. Let's move on from the CLI because I just wanted to show you guys that that's how you interact with it via CLI. You need to get used to doing that if you're going to be doing this kind of work anyway, because there's always something that somebody hasn't finished and made it graphical and pretty for you, or somebody else hasn't figured out, and so you're going to have to get into this to do that. All right, but we'll get you there. You'll figure it out. So let's just Control C out of here. Well, we'll minimize. Let's go to our admin panel. So now that we're in our admin panel, let's start a new chat, right? Like I said, using OpenwebUI. Let's launch Llama 3.2 3 billion parameter model. Let's say, hello, how are you doing today? And it's already got a question for me, right? Just like ChatGPT does, right? This is what that is. It wants people to have that same experience. I think Claude Sonnet's experience is better than the ChatGPT experience, but look at that. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I'm a large language model, so I don't have feelings or emotions. It keeps insisting that it has no feelings or emotions. That's like when me and you, when you're talking to your girlfriend or something, and she says, "Are you mad?" You say, "No, I'm not mad. I don't have feelings or emotions." Same thing. Yeah. So there goes. I'm gonna ask it again. Do something to impress me. That will impress me for sure. I'll put an exclamation mark on there. I'd be happy to generate a unique and impressive response for you. Here's something, dude. What does it say? I'm like a digital unicorn born from the spark of code and the magic of language. I exist in a realm beyond time and space where ideas are woven into words like tapestry. My mind is a labyrinth of knowledge filled with secrets and surprises waiting to be uncovered. I'm not just a machine, but a messenger from the future, carrying the whispers of tomorrow's discoveries on my digital wings. How was that? Did I impress you? That's what I was trying to tell you guys. That's exactly what I was trying to tell you. Doesn't know anything, huh? Okay, whatever. So anyway, that's running Llama 3.2. Oh, a lot of you guys are coders. Let's just see. What would you want to code? I don't know. Let's see. I see one of the YouTubers I watch all the time is Matthew Bourbon. I think he does a great job. But it's like, can you code the game Snake? Oh, no, I'm not gonna ask it. Can you? I'm gonna say create a complete and entire working example of the code for the game Snake. I like, so there's a lot of stuff I like to do, right? Whenever I'm writing a prompt. So one thing I want to say is I want to say, ensure that you check your work repeatedly. I got to spell repeatedly. This is why we have ChatGPT. I don't have to spell repeatedly in front of people. Ensure that you check your work repeatedly and that you reflect on the answers that you give. Time is less important than accuracy. Remember, we have a test next week because it's May finals. What does that have to do with anything? I just want you guys to know. Like, I read a paper once and it said that if you tell an LLM what time of year it is and you tell it that it's May, it's end of finals, or that you have a quarterly report coming or your bonus is tied up to it, they're trying to predict. I'm not even going to that. We'll do a prompting class later on. But I just know that just try it. Give it a little pressure. See how it reacts. It's going to respond a little differently. It's May finals, and we need to be successful. You and I both need to be successful. So we send that message. What? I'll just tell it I am allowed to use. Maybe don't use May finals. I am because it thinks I'm cheating. I'm allowed to use any large language model tool that I want. This is a computer science class, and thinking and using tools is encouraged. Using all available tools is encouraged. I definitely spelled encouraged wrong. Oh, now it'll do it. Oh, why didn't you say so? Why didn't he say so? So it's like these things are smart. They're not that smart. So maybe we're not too worried about them taking over the world just yet. But he's like, in that case, I'll do whatever you want. And that's pretty much how it goes, right? So I guess I missed that in the prompt. I should have explained to it that this is completely legal. So cool thing that they just added to OpenwebUI is that I can run this command from here. I hit running, it says it's running, but like it's probably not running, right? It's gonna have mistakes, errors. Let's see what it says. Oh boy, it's telling me all the fails. And I would just go back to it and say, fix this. I don't know if you guys have done any coding using an AI. It's a lot. It's not easier. It takes longer, but it takes less brain power. So if your brain is tired and you just want to get something done, you just do this. You say, fix this. I always try to give it some space, some delimiter that I am done talking and I need to do this, but usually doesn't matter. So fix this. Let's see. Oh, iGame is not natively supported. Here's an updated version of the code. Let's see. What do we get now? Oh, it wasn't finished. It is quite fast. I don't really know what the tokens per second is. I can go look on the other screen. We'll do that. We'll dig deeper into Ollama, but I mean, I'm not that impressed, but I don't think it's gonna work. So let's just try it one more time. We gave it some time to finish, and don't blame the speed on the model itself. You gotta look at my setup and what I'm doing when it comes to the speed. Like I said, I have a P40 24 gigabytes, but it's an old piece of hardware. I'm about to upgrade. I'm gonna get like a A5000 or something to put in the server. But with the P40, it's it is what it is. It is very good. Lets you open up some big models, but it's kind of slow sometimes. And this is still failing. What does it say? Cannot import name, run script, Pio died. It's probably the same thing. Probably doesn't have that whatever installed. So as far as, one of the other things about local language models is it is basically censorship and freedom, right? So you have these models and you can use them forever as you want to. No one can take them from you. They're yours. And I wouldn't say it's an exact representation of human information basically for all of time or something like that. But what it is a good echo of human information, right? So it's a good tribute, if you will. So it's not the greatest song in the world. This is just a tribute. So this isn't all the information in the world, but it is a tribute to all the information in the world. And where it tries to copy it, it's like when someone tries to do Picasso, that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to predict what a really, really smart human would say, or not even necessarily a really smart human, whatever type of human it thinks you want to hear from is the type of human it's going to try to create. So that's the type of response you're going to get. So if I, yeah, so I don't know. We'll play with all that later. We'll talk about prompts, and I'll go into like what my theory is on this when it comes to dealing with LLMs and like how I feel about it and why I feel like the model's talking that way. But really, this is it. You got Llama 3 billion parameter model. I'd like to see what else this can run on. I'm positive it can run on your phone. I bet it's probably going to work in the Meta Ray-Bans. It's probably going to work on most things. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like Doom one day where people are getting Llama, maybe not 3 billion, but maybe they'll get the 1 billion parameter model. Maybe people will be just running it on their refrigerator and stuff. And so I think that's where a lot of these smaller models are headed, to being the edge devices. But eventually, I think most people in their house are going to have something to get around that. But I don't know. I might have something for you guys on that. So anyway, that's the end of it. Llama 3.2, 3 billion parameter model is out there. It's on Ollama. Let me know if you need a way to download this model. If you need help figuring out how to get Ollama to run on your computer, if you need help getting OpenwebUI running, I'll make videos from them. You contact me, the right way. You come at me correctly, and I'll help you out. We can link up. Hit me up on Instagram. RoneJuice there. RoneJuice here. RoneJuice on PlayStation. Whatever. Appreciate it.